what's happening with LGR
and there's some restrictions around what we can and can't do, knowing that Basildon Council as an authority will not be here in a couple of years' time.
Yeah.
So I think that we will wait for the future organisation of Essex, and those submissions are going into central government this month.
Do you think there'll be any change, James, with the sort of announcement that soon to be not Deputy Prime Minister hasn't actually costed up devolution?
And I've heard it referred to as I'm not going to say this on record.
No, don't worry, I won't put it in.
Yeah, I think that side of things.
There's a lot of politics.
There's a lot of politics. There's a lot of competing interests. You see the district councils, county councils, a lot of this.
Well, we haven't had a stable government for if you can call this stable because it's still been there, but it's been chaotic to say the least.
Where they work, and there are combined authorities up and down the country. There are mayoral authorities up and down the country where they work. They do give you the ability to have that greater leverage and greater authority. So I think that it'd be interesting to see, once the direction of travel is confirmed later this year, obviously given Russell's caveat there, that we'll see what direction we're going, and then
will that involve a lot of? Do you still do Colchester?
Yeah. That'd be impacted as well.
I just wondered if would you really take on a lobbying role to advocate your way of operating in a greater sort of organisation?
We've got a lot of work that needs to be done, but again, talking today like we have done, reflecting on the last sort of period of a number of years, I think this is still the way to go, personally. Whether that's a corporate decision that's decided further down the line, but certainly I'd be advocating, and I think we've got enough evidence to support that stance. It's not just a personal opinion.
And I think it's only once every 50 years that local government gets reorganised. So whatever model comes out of this will be ours for the next 50 years, which at least gives us that ability to make some longer term planning. But at least we can say this is what it's going to be, and here's how we plan for that.
Because I remember Russell saying that when I was here 10 years ago, you were promoting that there shouldn't be more collaboration between different councils, so you can have you could do collaborative purchasing and share vehicles if needed to, and have interoperability as such.
And LGR will deliver that in the sense that whichever authorities we combine with, create new authorities, there will be a bigger pool of vehicles that certainly we would need.
Yeah, so and for winter maintenance, for instance, that could be.
But then there's a bigger opportunity for the market and themselves.
I think it gives us scale, and I think that the important thing is that we don't lose sight of the community we're here to serve as part of that. So that if the scale can give us greater efficiencies or greater ability to deliver in a certain way, that's got to be to make sure that we're focusing our efforts on the things that are important to our residents.
And obviously, the all-electric food waste fleet will have a massive impact on local air quality, which is getting more important. But despite all the sort of the unification strategy that's coming, and you being part of a much bigger entity, what would be your ultimate decarbonisation wish list? How do you see your fleet in 5 years beyond that?
I'm excited to see how sort of the new technologies sort of bed in. I know we're there, almost there with electric, but obviously we've got the ones that are coming down the line with the hydrogen. I'm not sure if that's still a big
surreal. It's just the infrastructure.
Infrastructure cost, supply of green hydrogen, all of that. It's losing popularity.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and hydrogen combustions, the engines are now sort of saying they're not efficient enough. But I think still there is an opportunity for hydrogen more on the long haul and larger vehicle. And I think
if you look, I've got quite strong. So if you're looking at haulage and you're going up and down the motorway, it should be hydrogen. In municipal, it's really don't get the same benefits. So if you look at this council, you theoretically, if you've got the electric infrastructure, could run an all-EV fleet, even based on today's technology. You see all this stuff, we've got this 1,000 megawatt charger that you can charge your vehicle up for in 5 minutes, that's going to give you a range of 500 miles, and it's interesting our company car policy. This is where it sort of conflicts. So we've banded people on company cars, and nearly everybody on the new ones are going for a Mercedes EQE. That's like massive in cost, but it's within budget because they're offering huge discounts on it because people aren't buying big EV cars. So if you've not got, they're buying a lot the smaller stuff, clearly if it's a set car as you run around it, they're obviously government giving a little bit more incentives on there. But the incentives, plain and simply, just aren't. They're just not the same, so it's not quite so much. And then you've got, without politicising it, if you look at what's gone on, America is drill, frack now, isn't it? And I'm sorry, it is resonating here because, the new party, if you like, is doing whatever the American, whatever Trump does, don't know. They're like, if I look at my own council, canning net zero, no, it's not. It's about money and jobs and everything, isn't it? So it's a difficult one to go and sell where you've got the biggest impact, I think, is a municipal application where you have a load of diesel vehicles going very, very slowly that never get up to temperature to burn off all the hydrocarbons that effective exhaust systems do. Try going down the motorway because the air that comes out of the exhaust is cleaner than what goes in. Yet municipally it doesn't work, so it should be EV.
Yeah, with the DPF issues.
It should be. If everyone could have a big solar farm outside their depots to go.
What about as a transitional technology fuel like HVO? A lot of councils are switching over now, but then obviously there's now issues with the supply chain and potential fraud and it doesn't reduce all the ultrafine particulates are not so much reduced, I think.
So we were aware, obviously we're well aware of the HVO, and we've looked and we were discussing with other authorities in Essex not too long ago, was it last year? Around it, but we I had some reservations around supply and things like that.
Cost?
So I kind of cost as well. I think again it was kind of like
cost volatility, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think because we're in the middle of more service changes, we kind of sort of held back from that one. And again, but it'd be interesting to see how it sort of plays out.
I think probably we'll continue to be alive to opportunities as and when they come up, and we'll continue to keep things under review for finding alternatives and improvements. It's not something where we go, okay, I don't think we ever get to a point where you can step back and say, right, job done, let's all go home now. We're always what next, and I'm sure that you come with the same approach.
I think we highlighted that you were kind of early adopters of EV on food waste, and that you've got a barrier to further EV because of infrastructure. I think given that kind of lull where you are at the moment, where you need to kind of have some more support on your infrastructure before you can make that next step, actually going back to the telematics and stuff like that, it really does all start from driving behaviour, regardless as to what fuel type you're using. Whether it is EV, because again, you need to drive in a certain way to preserve as much energy as you can. So actually going back to basics actually does help the future of that anyway. Yeah,
I think driver behaviour is essential, and you will see, but as soon as you have that technology installed, you will see another big reduction on emissions and incidents as such.
Yep.
And I think that will make a big difference.
Solid foundations, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Because whatever route you go is going to have a cost to it anyway, so you might as well have your fundamentals there to preserve that.
Yeah, but I think it's fair to say if you look at the EV food, it's probably fairly cost neutral, isn't it? In terms of fuel.
I'd probably say. I think we've got some data on it. We need to have a little look.
I think we need to look at the data. I think in more detail on that. But I think this.
Well, probably there.
Yeah, or worst case. So certainly, if you look at RCV applications on a sort of pretty. If you look at the sort of fairly densely populated, it is cost neutral. Sometimes even some say cost benefit. It's a bit like we'll get everybody in electric and then the energy bills go up, don't they? But I think it's like we'll get everybody in diesel, then we'll say all the emissions are no good on diesel. You can remember it about 10, 15 years ago, so you got an element of that on electric as well. But I do think sort of it is where a municipal application lends itself because it is high fuel consumption. Because
Your
it's not
charging
efficient operation.
infrastructure,